Welcome to a brand new family adventure vlog. Today we're traveling around the Brunswick, Topsham, New Gloucester area, and it also happens to be Brandon and I's 14th wedding anniversary. If you've already had the opportunity to spend any amount of time on my channel prior to today, then you'll know we love to adventure, and especially in Maine where we live, so that's exactly how we wanted to spend our anniversary with our kids. All of the locations that I'm sharing with you today are brand new to us as well. It is called the Swinging Bridge, evidently because it does quite literally swing. Oh my word. These yahoos, this is beautiful. Our first stop is a place called the Androscoggin Swinging Bridge, commonly just known as the Swinging Bridge. It is a pedestrian suspension bridge spanning the Androscoggin River between the towns of Topsham and Brunswick. My family is still determined to make the bridge shake and sway, and clearly they are rather effective at that. The bridge was built in 1892 as a time-saving approach for employees of the Cabot Manufacturing Company of Brunswick so they could have safer and easier passage across the river. This rather beautiful bridge was added to the National Register of Historic Places on January 14, 2004. It is a suspension bridge, as I mentioned. The materials used to create it are wire rope, steel, concrete, and wood. Its width is 6 feet. It was constructed by John A. Roebling's Sons. The initial construction cost was $2,000. It was rebuilt, the tower portions, from 1913 to 1916, the deck and railings in 1938, and a general overhaul in 2006. The bridge has 2 steel A-frame towers, each 30 feet 6 inches in height, that are mounted on concrete abutments. Wire ropes are suspended from the tower, supporting a wooden plank deck suspended from the cables by metal rods and railings 3 feet 6 inches high. The span across the river between the towers is 332 feet, and the distance between the cable anchor points is 520 feet. The cable is 1.875 inches in diameter, with 7 wires each composed of 7 strands. The cotton mill employees that the bridge was built to help accommodate were living in a location called Topsham Heights in Topsham, Maine. It was a new housing development built in the late 19th century. Topsham Heights was a neighborhood that was inhabited by a large Franco-American population recruited from Canada to work in the mills. The bridge had helped thousands of people walk to and from the Cabot Manufacturing Company cotton mill building located on the other side of the river in Brunswick. In 1891, the Topsham Land Company decided that a footbridge spanning across the Androscoggin River would be a safer, more direct route. The company hired John A. Roebling's Sons Company, the engineering firm that designed the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City, as well as many other bridges around the world. Construction began on the bridge May 19, 1892, and was completed in September of that year at a cost of $2,000. In 1906, both towns of Brunswick and Topsham became responsible for the repairs of the bridge. Between 1913 and 1916, the bridge's timber frame towers were replaced with steel by Maguire & Jones, a steel metal fabrication company in South Portland. As you observed, our family had a wonderful time visiting this bridge. I really enjoyed the sights, looking off either side of the bridge, and the kids and Brandon really enjoyed making the bridge swing as much as possible. these two together. Oh, add a third one in. They absolutely cannot be trusted. Wow, it's a good amount of movement. You can see the water through the crack. That's pretty cool. After our trip to the Androscoggin Swinging Bridge, our family headed down the road just a few minutes to Head of Tide Park, also in Topsham, Maine. The Head of Tide Park is located at the Cathance River's head of tide, or the furthest upstream that the tide impacts the river. It is home to a 15-foot waterfall, trailhead, picnic pavilions, and hand-carry boat launch to access the lower or tidal section of the river.
Oh, it smells gross in there too.
The park is made up of several properties that were purchased and protected in partnership with the town of Topsham to create the town's first waterfront park. The property is the site of the first sawmill in Topsham, as well as a historic feldspar mill that played an important role in the area's history. The large, tidally influenced area at the river's head of tide provides excellent wildlife viewing of species ranging from eagle and osprey to heron, owllife, and sturgeon. Admittedly, we did not do all that we could at this location. We didn't go down any of the trails. It was a rather hot and muggy day, so we opted not to engage in that activity, but we did really enjoy the historic feldspar mill as well as the 15-foot waterfall. We hope to visit this area again on maybe a not quite so hot day so that we can enjoy some of the trails, because from Head of Tide Park, Cathance River Trail snakes along the river and through its uplands, providing views of the pristine river and its undisturbed natural surroundings. The trail leads to an impressive 60-foot aluminum clay brook pedestrian bridge, which was locally designed and fabricated. I would have loved to have gotten to see that bridge. Across the bridge lies an additional 5 miles of trails at the Cathance River Preserve. The Cathance River is one of 6 rivers that converge to form Merry Meeting Bay, together draining 38% of Maine's land area. The bay is one of only 4 places in the world where large rivers with entirely separate watersheds come together to form an inland freshwater tidal delta. Below the falls at Head of Tide Park is a valuable freshwater tidal marsh ecosystem. The 15-foot waterfall you see before you separates the tidal from the freshwater portions of the river.
Pick it up.
Oh, there's a little water snake in there. Don't know if I like that or not.
That probably means there's a lot more.
Oh, they're cool.
Below the falls, you see freshwater tidal marsh. Merry Meeting Bay and its source rivers are associated with some of the most extensive freshwater tidal marshes in Maine. Because freshwater tidal marshes are so uncommon, they are home to rare plant species. 8 rare species are frequently found in Merry Meeting Bay and the lower Cathance River. These include beaked spike rush, Eaton's burr marigold, Long's bitter cress, Parker's pipewort, pygmy-weed, spongy arrowhead, stiff arrowhead, and water pimpernel. Perhaps the most notable inhabitant of this stretch of river is the globally rare Eaton's burr marigold. More than 1,000 individuals of this rare plant live along a 300-meter section of the Cathance riverbank. Due in large part to the extensive areas of wild rice and excellent fish spawning and nursery habitat, the tidal freshwater marshes of the Cathance and Merry Meeting Bay support thousands of ducks, geese, rails, wading birds, and other water-dependent species during spring and fall migrations. Over 50 species of freshwater fish and 10 species of anadromous fish use Merry Meeting Bay and the rivers that feed into it, including the the rare Atlantic salmon, critically endangered Atlantic sturgeon, critically endangered short-nosed sturgeon, recreationally important striped bass, and alewife, considered essentially for the restoration of Gulf of Maine commercial fisheries. Other anadromous species include rainbow smelt, blueback herring, American shad, tomcod, sea-run brook trout, and sea lamprey. Larger predator species like eagles, herons, and osprey are also drawn to this area. Next up, and just a couple of moments down the road from Head of Tide Park, we stopped at Rogers Homestead. The country road to Bowdenham, built in the 1700s, ran past here to a ferry crossing at the Cathans River. Gentleman farmer and statesman George Rogers made his home here. In the 1800s, he built this water tower to supply water to his estate. Going back for the almost forgotten Colin water bottle. Luckily, we were just a couple minutes down the road, stopped at that other place when we discovered he had left it behind. Our last stop on today's adventure is Talking Brook Public Land. This area is located in New Gloucester, Maine, and was about a half an hour from the other 3 locations that we visited on this day. This is another one of those areas that we didn't spend too much time at, simply due to incoming weather and the heat and humidity, but we'd definitely like to go back. I will say that the maps around here were not that easy to read and seemed to be lacking some details. However, as we traveled down the clearly marked trails, we discovered a lot of really interesting things. This trail system is 4.3 miles in length, and it starts on Woodman Road beyond the trailhead parking. There are several trails branching off of Woodman Road, accessing Talking Brook and Meadow Brook. Some trails follow the streams, while other trails wander over hills through forested landscapes. The trail systems on either side of Woodman Road can be linked to allow hikers and runners options to accumulate mileage. All trails are blazed with color-coded plastic blazes, with each trail section having a different color. On the Talking Brook, or the west side of the road, there is a stream loop that passes by small falls in the brook, a beaver pond, and interesting rock formations. On the Meadow Brook, or east side of Woodman Road, the trail travels the brook to a waterfall at the far end. All trails loop back to Woodman Road. I will also note that you should bring bug spray if you are going to visit this area, because there was an abundance of bugs, especially horseflies. These trails used to be 2 separate trail systems, Big Falls Preserve and Norumbega Trails. They were consolidated in 2023, taken on by the Maine Bureau of Public Lands, and redesignated as Talking Brook Public Land.
What if the world had more of your smile?
Ladder.
What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars. Maybe the birds will sing about your heart. Maybe the trees will whisper the word. Maybe the sun will spread your joy to the ones who lost their hope. Fill my head with roses. I can't help but dream away. Standing on a field with you and flowers everywhere. Maybe there is a star with your name. One thing I know is that you should be. There is no heart as pure, no, not like yours. Dreaming of you.
glad you could join us today for our travels to some brand new locations here in our wonderful home state of Maine. I hope that you'll have the chance to visit one or all of these places yourself one day. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, you should do so that you can hang out with us on all of our future adventures.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars.